Hello, and welcome to Unity Vancouver Island's pre-service meditation. My name is Don Giberson, and it's my honor to be your prayer guide today. If you are joining live, welcome. And if you're listening to the recording of this meditation, welcome as well. I invite you now to just take a moment to get still, and if it feels comfortable for you, to close your eyes. And allow your attention to focus on your breathing. And without trying to control it in any way, just observe and notice the easy, gentle rhythm of the air as it moves in and out, in and out. And as you focus on the breath, allow your body to relax. Allow your mind to still. And allow your emotions to become calm. As we focus on the breath, it brings us into the present moment. And now we focus on that inner place where we connect with spirit and are one with spirit. And what we are going to do this morning is a meditation called the Coherence Meditation from Heart Math Institute. And I invite you now to think about a time when someone expressed love or appreciation towards you, or a time when you expressed love or appreciation to someone else. And you might want to put a hand on your heart just to connect with that loving energy. And as you remember that experience, allow it to gently bring a smile to your face. And feeling into that space and energy of love. As you breathe in, imagine that you are breathing in through your heart. And imagine that as the breath passes through your heart, it is charged and infused with your unique loving energy. And as you breathe out, imagine sending that loving energy out to every cell in your body. Imagine your breath charged with your loving energy, filling every single nook and cranny and space of your body. Every cell and every space between the cells being bathed in your loving energy. And now as you breathe out, imagine that loving energy expanding out beyond your body, expanding out in all directions, growing and growing until it takes in the entire building that you are in, or if you are outside, the entire space around you. And as you breathe out, imagine every person, every animal, every plant, every living being, every living creature within that space being blessed and bathed by your loving energy as you send it out. Breathing out love and loving energy and having it being experienced and expressed, and having it being experienced and blessing every person, animal, plant within your space or within your building. And now, as you breathe out, imagine that loving energy expanding yet again, moving out in all directions, east, west, north, south, above and below, expanding and expanding until the entire city or town that you're in is bathed in your loving energy. And once again, imagine every person, every living creature, every plant, tree, all of the water, the streams, the lakes, the rivers, all being bathed and blessed and transformed and healed by the loving energy that you are sending out. And once again, as you breathe out, imagine your loving energy expanding yet again, expanding to the east, to the west, to the north, to the south, above you and below you, expanding and expanding until it takes in the entire province or state that you live in. Imagine every cubic inch of your province or state being bathed in your loving energy. And imagine every person, every man, woman, child, every creature, every tree, plant, blade of grass, all of the water in the air, in the ground, in the rivers and lakes and streams, all being blessed and bathed, transformed and healed by your loving energy. And as you breathe out, once again, imagine that loving energy passing out and expanding in all directions once again, east and west, north and south, above and below, expanding and expanding and expanding until the entire country is bathed in your loving energy. And once again, imagine that loving energy as it expands. It transforms, heals, bathes, and blesses every person, every creature, every plant, tree, shrub, the air and the water, all of nature and all of God's creations being blessed, healed, and transformed by your loving energy. And now, once again, as you breathe out, imagine that loving energy expanding once more, moving in all directions, east and west, north and south, above you and below you, expanding and expanding until it takes in and envelops the entire continent. And once again, imagining every person, every creature, the air, the water, every plant, tree, shrub, blade of grass, all of nature being blessed, being bathed in your loving energy and being healed and transformed by the loving energy that you are sending out. And breathing out yet again, imagine that loving energy expanding and moving once more, expanding yet again to the east, to the west, to the north, to the south, above and below, expanding in all directions, expanding and expanding until the entire planet Earth is bathed and enveloped by your loving energy. And imagine again every person, creature, all of God's creations being bathed in, blessed by, healed, and transformed by your loving energy. And as you breathe out yet again, once more imagine that loving energy expanding in all directions, expanding now beyond our planet, expanding out in all directions to take in the entire universe, so that the entire universe and all the planets and all the space in between is enveloped by your loving energy. And take a moment to just acknowledge the beauty and the sacredness of this time and this work, knowing that sending out this loving energy is healing and transforming our world. So take a moment now to just express your gratitude and start to gently bring your attention back to the current time and space, feeling the chair or the sofa or the bed beneath you, wiggling your fingers and your toes as you reconnect and reestablish your connection with your body and your physical presence. And when you are ready, open your eyes. And be here now. Thank you for joining me for this pre-service meditation. Whether if you're joining live, I invite you to get a drink, refresh your cup, and join us for our Sunday service experience. And if you're listening to the recording, I invite you to listen to the recording of today's service. Thank you once again for joining me for this pre-service meditation. Namaste.
Yes, welcome to Unity. And first of all, we'd like to take a moment just to acknowledge that we are living, working, and playing on the traditional and unceded territory of the Tsuut'ina Nation. And for that, we are grateful. Haichka. And welcome to Unity. This is a place of acceptance and inclusion and openness. And this is a place, what we call a positive path to spiritual living, where you're invited to think for yourself and to exchange ideas, to take what works for you and leave the rest. So wherever you are in your spiritual journey and wherever you are in the world, welcome Unity Vancouver Island. And now Valerie and Brian have some more singing for us.
free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now.
So let's just affirm and celebrate that freedom in prayer. And we know that there's one ultimate power in this universe, and that power is present right here, being present throughout the universe. It is present here in its totality and available and willing to be used by each and every one of us. This power is unlimited, and therefore we are unlimited. Naturally innocent, naturally powerful, naturally unlimited. And so we release any chains in our thinking and our belief that restrict us. Knowing that infinite power is available to each and every one of us right here and right now. And so we accept our freedom, we welcome our freedom, we embrace our freedom and celebrate it. And using that freedom of thinking, that freedom of believing, that freedom of choice, to choose only good, to choose only love, expansion, growth, happiness, health, joy, and love. And so it is. Amen. January is, as you probably know, in Unity, we celebrate that each of us innately has 12 powers available to us at any time, and we can use those powers to gain mastery in our lives. And we've kind of arbitrarily just assigned those powers because there are 12 of them, one to each month. So traditionally, January is the month we celebrate the power of faith. And the children are going to be talking about that a little bit this morning, and affirmations. Affirmations are a way to affirm our faith. And so they're going to be working with I am statements. I am, I can, I have, I do. And so I'd like to share with you a reading from Emily Cady, who is one of the early Unity writers. And this is about faith. She says, the word faith is one that has generally been thought to denote a simple form of belief, based mostly on ignorance and superstition. It is a word that has drawn forth something akin to scorn from so-called thinking people, the people who have believed that intellectual attainment is the highest form of knowledge to be reached. Blind faith, they have disdainfully chosen to call it, fit only for ministers, women, and children, but not a practical thing on which to establish the everyday business affairs of life. Some have prided themselves on having outgrown the swaddling clothes of this blind, unreasoning faith, and have grown to the point, as they say, where they have faith only in that which can be seen or intellectually explained. The writer of the Epistle to the Hebrews, obviously a most intellectual man and a learned theologian, before writing at length on the nature of faith and the marvelous results attending it, tried to put into a few words a condensed definition of faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. In other words, faith takes right hold of the substance of things desired and brings into the world of evidence the things that before were not seen. Further speaking of faith, the writer said, things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. That is, things that are seen are not made out of visible things, but out of the invisible. In some way, then, we understand that whatever we want is in this surrounding invisible substance, And faith is the power that can bring it out into actuality to us. Something to think about. I think we have another song.
Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are many textures, we are many colors, each one different from the others. But we are entwined with one another, one great tapestry. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are different instruments playing our melody, each one tuning to a different need. But we are playing in harmony, in one great tapestry. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. Oh, in the power we live and know, our unity only the destiny. Now Christ in me, the Christ in me, in one great family. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love.
Let's see if we can make technology. Technology working. Oh. Technology works. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank us. You're welcome.
Thank us. Thank us, please. Please. Yeah, it's not what you think. You probably thought this talk would be about it's not what you think, but it's not what you think. Uh-huh. You know, I was wrestling with this. Of course, as I've mentioned so many times, Patricia is like, I need a talk title. And then I don't know what I'm going to talk about, so I throw together some words like, it's not what you think. And then okay, now I have to create a talk around it. And then faith came up as January is faith, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe I'll see what that has. And then the Unity Principle 3 came up, which is our thoughts create our reality. So then I was in this discourse of, well, if our thoughts create our reality, but it's not what you think because of faith, what do we do? Like, how do we manage ourselves through that? And so that required a lot of reading and investigation. So I began to read some things. I was reading Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul. Actually, reading's a lie. I was listening to it. And I'm just going to pause for a moment. I have a question. Is listening to a book the same as reading a book?
Yes.
No.
Oh! We get one side of the room as yes and one side of the room as no. anyhow, there was some great stuff which I'll get to in that, but I want to tackle faith a little bit because I wrote some notes on that. And for me, what shows up as faith is knowing that all is already given. It's absolutely believing 100% in my place of wisdom. So if you go back to our 12 powers, our wisdom is here. It's that, my new favorite word is self-centered. I am going to be so self-centered, you can't believe how centered in myself I want to get. Right, but that's where faith resides. It's here. It's knowing in here that all is already given, all is going to be okay, and I don't need to worry. Now, I can worry, right? I have that option, I have that freedom, but where does worry happen? It's here, in our thinking. So there was my division there between, like, so how do my thoughts create reality versus my faith? So here's what I think on that. Divine ideas. So again, in Unity, Charles and Myrtle wrote about divine ideas. So we get these divine ideas, which I would put in the category of thinking, right? A divine idea comes in or is created in our thoughts, and now we can expand on that. But in order to deliver on our divine ideas, we need to move it away from the thinking part of us and bring it into that faith part of us, that belief that it's just going to happen. I don't need to worry about it. I can just continually be open to it, continually opening myself up to the possibility. Now, what happens when you get trapped in our thoughts? Has anybody had experience with getting trapped in your thinking? It's not just me, right? Where we just go around in a circle, constantly reliving an event. Well,
Or else making stuff up.
there's the making stuff up. We'll get to that. When you are experiencing great joy in your life, when something wonderful happens, are you still 2 weeks later just stuck in that joy? Oh man, that joy was so good. Whoa! No, you live it, you experience it, and you let it go, opening up to the next possible joy. But when something triggers us, as Michael Singer refers to as a blockage, where we have something that gets stuck in us, what do?
Stew on it.
Ruminate.
Yeah.
Try to think ourselves through it. I'm going to figure this out. Why did they do that to me? Now I need to know why they did that. So then we just keep running this thing around in our heads over and over again, believing that somehow we can think ourselves out of it and solve it. Versus, as Michael Singer says, getting in the habit of releasing immediately. So I've shared before that I had made a very bad investment decision that I kept from Leslie, and the longer I kept it, the worse it became inside of me. And yet when I finally shared it, she was like, oh yeah, well, okay, that happens. But in me, it had built up to this extreme discomfort, when in actuality, it was all going on inside of me. It wasn't real, right? It wasn't a real thing. It was my own version, as Ken put it, making stuff up. I had made up this whole scenario of life was going to somehow explode on me from that experience. But none of that was real. You get that? Right? You get that this is what we do when we think too much? Right? The idea is we get thoughts, we release them, and we move on from them. But if we get stuck in them, pain and suffering discomfort. I think it's, I have here a note from Rumi. The cure for the pain is in the pain. At some point, you're going to have to deal with it. So are you better, here's a question, you can answer this for yourself. Are you better to deal with it immediately or deal with it way later? Which one seems like it might work better? The immediate, right? But that's not what we do, is it? You can all agree. It's not what we do. We want to hang on to this stuff and own it for a while. And sometimes, you know what, I got to admit, sometimes it feels good, right? Sometimes it feels good to wallow and suffer and be like, I'm not doing anything today, I'm just going to lay in my bed. I've done that, I've had those days. I don't want to face anything. And yet, every time where I just deal with stuff and move on from it and release it and let it go and get on with my life, it works better. Now, with that idea of releasing and letting go, there's one thing to be saying, hey, my life is great, I love it, I just let that go. That's a bunch of crap, I hate that stuff. Right? If underneath that surface out there, that facade, is not truth. In other words, if we're not living our truth, if the truth is the opposite of what we're saying, have you really let it go? No. So practice. This is where practice, having a practice, a sacred practice for yourself. Meditation, I have now gone on record in other places saying that meditation has saved my life. I meditate every single day without fail. Sometimes it's 2 minutes. Sometimes it's 3 hours. But I do it every day because it allows me to release that stuff. It's like this, and I think it's Richard Wagamese that said this. I'm not the guy getting mad in the supermarket lineup. I'm the guy watching me get mad in the supermarket lineup. There's a difference. That is that centering self. Knowing that you can step back and see what you're doing. Has anybody ever done that? Yeah. Imagine if you practice that all the time in every situation where you could actually be the observer of what you're doing. Making decisions based on observing what's going on for you. So not just observing what's going on in the world and coming at you, but actually your place in it. Now you can make choices that are powerful for yourself. You can come from a place of that centering, that wisdom, that internal knowing of what is my truth, what works for me. Hey, maybe right now being with this group of people doesn't work for me. You know what? I'm going to excuse myself. You don't need a reason. You don't need to, make a big deal about it. You can just be, this isn't working for me right now, and exit the situation. Doesn't have to be a whole story about it. That can be true for anything. But it takes practice to do that. And how much of this is fear-based? Could you say that all of it is fear-based? When we're hanging on to stuff, it's all based in fear. The fear of the unknown, the fear of dying. I've often said I'm not afraid to die. And then somebody will say, well, oh, you want to die? Well, actually, I didn't say that. Nowhere did I say I want to die. I just said I'm not afraid to. And I remember my dad always said that when I was a kid, and I never understood it until a couple of years ago. It occurred to me that I'm in a place now where I'm not afraid to die. I don't want to die. I want to see my kids get older and experience their lives, and if they have kids, experience that. Of course, I want all of those things for myself. But if I walk out this door today and get hit by a truck, I'm okay with that because I don't have a choice. Right? I got to kind of be okay with it.
Good point.
There's nothing I'm going to do about it that's going to change that. So why live in that place of being afraid of it? It's inevitable. I am going to die. We all are. We know that. So we might as well get comfortable with that being a part of life now. So if you can do that there, where else can you take away that fear? You know, that fear of what other people think of you, that fear of embarrassment, that fear of not being enough in the world. Where else can you let that fear go? So it's not driving your life. You know, just take a moment now and just think just think of a time where you've allowed fear to run your decision making. Afraid of upsetting somebody. You know, something as simple as that. When in all that has to happen is we just need to step into our ownership of what is working for us and what's not working for us. And with that goes the responsibility of not making others wrong in that process. It's just, hey, this doesn't work for me. That's it. You know, so much of the world right now seems in this place of pointing fingers at one another. Who's right, who's wrong, who's to blame for my lot in life? How's that going to serve us? You know, how can we move forward living in a world where all we're doing is making everybody responsible for what's not working for us because we're living in a place of fear? I don't know. Maybe I should stop thinking about this. See? It's not what you think, it's what you believe. I believe everything will be fine and we'll all figure this out together. That's unity. Is anybody familiar with Coherence, otherwise known as Ecclesiastes, from Hebrew Scriptures? I think he's my favorite next to Jesus. I still think Jesus is really cool, but Coherence or Ecclesiastes is also pretty cool. So I'm going to read chapter 1, starting at verse 12. I, the teacher, when king over Israel in Jerusalem, applied my mind to seek and to search out by wisdom all that is done under heaven. It is an unhappy business that God has given to human beings to be busy with. I saw all the deeds that are done under the sun, and see all is vanity and chasing after wind. What is crooked cannot be made straight, and what is lacking cannot be counted. I said to myself, I have acquired great wisdom, surpassing all who were over Jerusalem before me, and my mind has had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. And I applied my mind to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this is also but a chasing after wind. For in much wisdom is much vexation, and those who increase knowledge increase sorrow. If you read Ecclesiastes, he goes on to say that basically, eat food, drink, and be merry. Because everything else is nonsense. And I really look at that as an opportunity to release, right? Imagine if we could just live in that place of like, hey, it's no big deal. Like I said, you know, we don't keep bringing that joy with us everywhere, do we? But we bring our drama and those blockages with us. And the longer that we let a blockage stay within us, the worse it gets and the more it weighs us down. And I don't want to come across as like, oh, it's so easy and flippant to just let stuff go. I get it. It's not, right? It's hard work. It takes something to move beyond that discomfort. But on the other side of that, when we can deal with it and move beyond it, is that joy? Is that ability to just keep bringing joy to your life? Because you're not in this state of discomfort. So in actuality, you end up living, bringing joy everywhere with you. And wouldn't that be fun? I think it would. I like to look for quotes. And I received a quote from somewhere I didn't expect it, which was a person by the name of Jim Hughes. Jim Hughes was a hockey player and a hockey coach, and he has 3 sons that are now in the NHL. One of them is Quinn Hughes, who's a defenseman for the Vancouver Canucks. And I was reading an article, and this was a foundation of their family. If you're doing it from the inside out, you're doing it from your heart, and you're doing it from your soul. And that's all we've ever asked of our boys. From the inside out. Again, if we're allowing our thinking mind to take what's going on out there to drive our decision making and get stuck up here, I see a lot of discomfort, pain, and suffering, and not much joy in my life when I do that. But when I can let that go and begin to work from in here and be the person that watches myself and takes care of myself, then I can see that joy in my life. I can see everybody with new glasses and clear myself from that discomfort. So join me, please. Let's take a few moments to go within. Did I? Oh, it's okay? Okay, sorry.
We'll think about it.
What is she saying to me? No, please, join me. If you're comfortable, you can close your eyes. Begin to notice your breath. And this is where I invite you to stand back from yourself. If you can imagine that you are now watching yourself breathe and seeing that breath move in and out. If you're breathing into your belly, you might notice your belly rising and falling. You might notice your chest expanding and contracting. And just staying with that, staying in that space. And I invite you to know, to truly know, that at any point where there is blockage or discomfort, you can take this moment of pause, and see what's going on. Not what's going on out there, but what's going on inside. What am I feeling right now? What is my experience? It's an opportunity for inquiry. Maybe you're thinking, I don't think much about this talk. And you can ask why. Why is that? I invite you to get specific, to know what's going on for you. Take this moment with you. Know that it's yours whenever you want it. Take a nice deep breath in. Let it go. Namaste.
Sorry.
Nico, take a close look at the rocket ship.
Oh, that's why I laughed. I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't want to be an astronaut. Who doesn't? Okay. All right, who doesn't?
Which rocket ship? The one on the right or the one on the left?
The one with that handsome bearded
Oh,
fellow.
okay.
Thomas, when you were talking, it made me think about working with people who have short-term memory, like dementia. And if you play the music, they're just happy. They don't think about anything else. And it doesn't matter what happened 5 minutes before or 5 minutes later. And even 5 minutes later, you can play the same song and they're happy again. So, in that spirit, I'll play what I always play for them. Even if I played before, I just love the song.
don't take my sunshine away. And thankfully, we have sunshine today, going to melt all this snow and bring us back to spring. Thank you, Nico, Thomas, Valerie, Brian. Great music today. So we have some announcements. So this is the last week we're going to ask you to do this. Please renew your membership. It's as simple, yes. It's as simple as just sending an email saying, please renew my membership. And we hope if you're a member that you will want to continue. That allows you to vote on budgets and financial statements and hiring people and appointing boards of directors and all the important decisions we make here. A couple of times this week people have asked the questions, what's the fee? There is no fee or charge to be a member at Unity. So please, and if you have not been a member yet and would like to be, just send me a quick email and I'll let you know what needs to happen to make that happen. Thank you. Unity Comox Valley is doing their releasing and Whitestone ceremony on Tuesday this week. In person, please RSVP to judymm@shaw.ca so they know how many people to prepare for. And that's in person at the Lion's Den. The Nico Rhodes Choir really is going to resume this week, right, Nico?
Oh my gosh.
Weather permitting.
Snowpocalypse permitting. Yeah.
Yes. 7 o'clock, new voices are welcome, and I have music ready to bring everybody up to date, so please join us. And games night will resume, weather permitting, this Friday. That's board games, family time. Bring everybody. Bring your board games if you've got them, what you'd like to play, and just have some fun. And join Mavis and friends after service today on the Zoom circle, just fellowship sharing what you've learned and what you've questioned today. And that link is in your newsletter. Last Sunday, some of you are aware that as the 2 feet or 3 feet of snow on our roof started to melt and our drains were frozen, we had a couple of roof leaks. And within 5 minutes of putting out the word, Brenda, her husband Andreas, and their sons Marcus and Eric were up on the roof clearing the snow, clearing the drains, and saving us potentially a lot of money had we had some damage. They live close by and they are just epitomize what a good neighbor is. So our thanks to Brenda and family. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Kyle, for your fun work this week. And Leslie on the camera. Thank you everyone who supports us financially or by volunteering or just by watching us. And I want to say a shout out this morning to Audrey, who's watching from England, and my good friend Georgina frequently watches from England, and to Susan and Rod, who regularly is the word I'm looking, watch us from Port Hardy. So welcome everyone wherever you are. Thank you for your support, whether it be through finances or just being with us. And so, speaking of finances, let us do our abundance affirmation. Today, I expect every good thing to come to me, for I know that divine abundance is forever manifesting itself in my affairs. And Valerie and Brian are going to introduce a beautiful new abundance song to us today.
Path is
you got it, Emma? You want to show everybody what you did?
Awesome. Nice.
One more time. Hold it up. I need to. Hold it up. Let's see.
There we go.
Whoa. Nicely done.
Thanks, Emmett.
Bravissimo.
When we plant a flower, we have faith that it will grow. Am I turned on? I'm not turned on. I'm turned on now. When we have a flower, we have faith that it will grow, right? And that's so easy to apply that to the rest of our lives. Thank you, for Emmett and Isabella, for being here. Let's do our children's blessing. We see the divine light shining as you. We love and appreciate you exactly the way you are. And please join me for our prayer for protection and our peace song. The light that is God surrounds me. I am one with the light. The love that is God enfolds me. I am one with the love. The power that is God watches me. I am one with the power. The presence that is God watches over me. I am one with the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well, and so it is. Amen.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as our center, and we all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let this be a moment with every step I take. Let this be my joyous heart to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it
Oh, yeah.
I'm good, buddy. How are you? Happy New Year.
Oh, Trisha. There's no. Oh, yeah.
How long are you going for? A month. Oh, okay. Good. Yeah, very good. Just, staying pretty close to home, but,